Welcome to Free Flow Friday, powered by the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. I'm Dave Dubeau, and I'm very excited to give you an over-the-shoulder learning experience around raising capital, as well as other tips, tricks, and strategies to help you on your real estate investing journey. So let's start. Let's discover together. What we're going to be talking about here today are what I'm calling the 8 capital activators. Ooh, that sounds kind of sexy. 8 capital activators. I cannot claim that I came up with this. I am swiping this from a really, really smart marketer, a fellow named Dean Jackson. He came up with the 8 profit activators for any business. And I think that ourselves as real estate entrepreneurs, we are in the business of doing real estate deals. So this is a business, and I'm going to do my best to translate his 8 profit activators to our situation of bringing on investors and raising capital. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a thumbs up. I've muted everybody. We'll keep muted until we got Q&A and that sort of thing. Okay, so where does this kind of encompass my whole 5-step money partner formula? It covers all of it, all right, and then some. So I think you'll see that as we go along. So who's Dean Jackson, the guy that I first learned this from? Like I say, very, very sharp marketer. He's actually originally from Toronto. These days he resides in a warmer, sunnier place down in Florida. Originally, he was a realtor for many, many years and became very, very good at that. In fact, now part of his whole business thing is he helps realtors really dial in their lead generation systems, get listings, all that kind of good stuff. But he's also a marketer's marketer. So I had the pleasure of spending 2 days with him in a small little Zoom mastermind group late December or January. I can't remember. Time flies. Not that long ago. And it was really, really good. So if you're interested in finding out about Dean Jackson, I highly recommend that you check him out. He's got a couple of really good podcasts. I Love Marketing would probably be a really good one just to kind of get a good gist about marketing, and especially listen to the first 7 or 8 episodes of that. That's really, really good. And then he's got another one that he calls More Cheese, Less Whiskers. You can check those out as well. So what Dean has done, he's a very smart guy, and he dumbs things down so guys like me can even understand what the hell he's talking about. So he's broken business down into basically 3 main categories. Any business, including ours, right? There's he calls them units, 3 units. The before unit, the during unit, and the after unit. Pretty much says what it's all about, right? So the before unit is what are we doing before an investor actually starts working with us? What's all the stuff that goes along with that? Now, my whole business is revolved around helping you with the before unit, but that's just one part of the puzzle. So once you get an investor who agrees to have a meeting with you, well, then we get into the during unit. This is when the relationship's really starting to kick into gear, especially if they decide to move forward with you. So that's all that part of the whole thing. So from the meeting to getting the ball rolling, to getting them into the actual investment, to maintaining that investment and doing all the reporting and the meetings with the investor meetings with them during the process and paying people and then exiting the deal. That's the during unit. All right. Does that make sense, you guys? And then the after unit is, okay, what do we do after we have completed the deal with that person? You guys, what happens after that? Okay. So we're going to go through each one of these before, during, and after units. And when it comes to investor partners, again, I'm trying to translate this into how does this apply for us. So before unit, it's all about finding the investors, identifying the perfect investors, educating them, and motivating them to reach out to us the first time. That's what this is all about, okay? So that's the before unit. The during unit is where we deliver the experience, whatever that looks like. So that it could be starting with the first meeting, getting them to invest with you, that whole process, the duration of that time of them actively investing with you. All of that is part of the during process. And then the after unit is all about really maximizing the experience, right? So focusing on that lifetime worth of an investor. Does everybody remember that, where we talked about that lifetime worth of investor? If you close your pretty little peepers, does that number pop out in the inside of your eyelids in neon? Like I hope it does. Hopefully it does. So it's all about really working on that. So getting repeat business from that investor, getting them to reinvest with us, getting testimonials from them and referrals, and really just maximizing that whole experience. So he's chunked it down into these 3 different parts of our working relationship, and then 8 capital activators that go along with those different before, during, and after units. All right. So there's 3 activators in the before unit, 3 activators in the during unit, and 2 activators in the after unit. Go ahead, Jim. You had a question or something? Yeah, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Oh, no, you're okay. All right. So before units, you guys, what happens here? Well, capital activator number 1, according to Dean, and I completely agree with him, is we're going to be much more effective if we select a single target market, that we're going to focus on. And again, from my perspective, the easiest money, the most logical money to go after first, and the safest money to go after first is that which is within our sphere of influence, right? Because remember, in order for somebody to invest with us, they need to know us, they need to like us, and they need to trust us with their money. Well, who already knows us, who already likes us, and who is most likely to trust us? People that we have that pre-existing relationship with, right? So friends, family members, coworkers, etc. We've already got 2 out of those 3 taken care of. Now, once we have maximized that, once we have squeezed all of the juice out of that group of people, then we start to look at, okay, how do we expand our sphere of influence? How do we start reaching out and perhaps bringing on accredited investors, especially you folks that are getting into bigger deals, working in multifamily properties, that sort of thing. You know, once you've gotten all of the capital we can out of your current sphere, how do we grow that sphere of influence? So that's what that's all about. All right. So within the whole money partner formula thing, this is all about step number 1, creating that target group of prospective investors, and then also breaking the ice with them. So things that we do for you to help you with this, help you put together your contact list. Lorna's helped you do that. And also doing the warm-up campaign, which is to reconnect with people before we start talking business. Okay. So that's profit activator number 1, is let's focus on that target market. Capital activator number 2, compelling our best prospects to reach out to you, compelling people to reach out to you. Now, this is what our marketing is all about, right? All of our marketing is designed to get people to put up their hand, self-identify, and ideally click on the button that says book a call with one of you, right? Go on your website, click on the book a meeting button. So that's what this is all about, compelling people, creating that curiosity, that desire for more information. Now, we need to focus on what's in it for them. It's not just all about how great we are, how smart we are, how much experience we have. We have to tie all of that into what's in it for the other person. What makes this a good, compelling thing for them? And then again, our goal is let's get them to self-identify. Let's get them to reach out to us. So what are some examples of doing this? Well, probably the fastest way to do this is getting people to sign up for a webinar or getting people to opt in for something. It could even actually be part of your whole warm-up campaign, the people that reply back to you. That is a kind of self-identifying there. Higher level things like this would be people coming to your book launch party, registering for that, people reaching out, requesting a copy of your book. Anytime we get people to proactively reach out and do something and kind of virtually put up their hand. All right. So this is all the constant and consistent communication. This is all about the marketing side of things. So one example of this would be the ninja strategy. That's an example of this marketing, getting people to put up their hand. Having your website as part of this whole process, so people have a reason to opt in. People have a reason to self-select for things. Doing your webinar. This is a way to get people to kind of self-select, and we see who the keeners really are. If you're working with us on one of our book projects, well, the whole book launch event is another way to make this happen, right? Does that make sense, you guys? You kind of following along with me here? We're going to go through this, and then we'll kind of review back on how this might apply for you. Plus, get everybody's input on what kind of resonates most with you and where we think we need to work on things. All right. Capital activator number 3. Again, this is the whole marketing thing. Educate and motivate people to meet with you, right? So I talk a lot about edutaining marketing, that constant and consistent communication, staying top of mind with people. Well, that is absolutely vital. Now, I love the way that Dean Jackson talks about this. He says, patiently and systematically educate and motivate your prospective investors to book a meeting. Well, he talks about it slightly differently, but he talks about educate and motivate your prospective clients or customers to reach out to you. So when it comes to us with our investors, motivate our prospective investors to book a meeting with us. That's what it's all about. But here's the thing. It's also always remembering that just because we're ready and hot to trot to get them to invest with us does not mean that they are ready and hot to trot to invest with us right now. Does that make sense? Just because we want them to doesn't mean they're ready to. So we always have to keep that in mind, and we need to be persistent, but not pushy. Persistent, but not pushy. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a thumbs up if that's making sense for you. All right, so it's that persistent, be ready when they are ready. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the training I did a few months ago about when an investor will actually pull the trigger and invest with you. But the reality is, if, for example, you guys have a list of 200 people, for example, that's what we usually talk about, a list of 200 people. And let's say you do some different marketing over the next few weeks to a couple of months. You do your normal marketing. We do the outreach for the warm-up campaign. We do, let's say, a webinar, something like that. Let's say you get a group of 20 people out of those 200 who have put up their hands. All right. Now, if those folks can invest, here's what the reality is. Out of those 20 people, over the next 2 years, if we do everything right, about 10 of them will become investors with us. If they're able to, about 10 of them, about half of them actually will become investors with us. Half of them won't, not in the next 2 years. But what's really important to understand is that out of those 10 people who do become investors, the vast majority of them will not invest with you right away. You might get 1 or 2 who are ready to go in the next 60 to 90 days. But the other 8 will come in over time, between 4 months and 24 months. That's just statistically what's likely to happen. Now, it might be a little faster for you, I'm not sure, but statistically, that's what's likely to happen. Does that make sense, you guys? So the challenge is, and I understand this, our tendency is we want to just focus on the people that are ready to invest right now. We kind of think of everybody else as tire kickers, as not really serious, as wasting our time. That's not true. They're just not ready right now. Just because we want them to doesn't mean they will. And so that's why it's so important we have that constant, consistent communication to stay top of mind. Now, here's another big tip, and I love this example that Dean talks about. We need to be proactive about showing people what the next step is, right? So when it comes to our marketing, what is our goal? What is our goal when it comes to our marketing, you guys? The big picture. Anybody, go ahead, unmute yourself and chime in. What is our goal with our marketing?
To get a meeting.
Good. Who said that?
Rob,
exactly. The goal of our marketing is to get a meeting booked. The goal of our marketing is not to sell a deal per se. The goal of our marketing is to get somebody to say, yes, Rob, I'm interested. Tell me more. All right. And then that's where we have the meeting. So, but here's the thing. A lot of us, when it comes to our marketing, we're very kind of mamsy-pamsy at the end of it as far as telling people what to do. So a lot of our marketing is, hey, if you've got any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Give me a call or send me an email anytime. Right? That's kind of the normal thing that we see. However, that's not very effective because that's putting all of the pressure on them. Now, on the other hand, when we show them exactly what to do, it makes it very, very clear and very easy for them to do that. So it might be something like that. Hey, you know what? If you'd like to find out how this can work for you and get a free copy of my book, click on the blue link, book an appointment, and let's have a quick meeting and see how this can work for you. All right. So you're very specific on what you're telling them to do. And the example Dean uses for this that I really enjoy is, let's imagine you've invited somebody over to your house, right? And it's a friend of yours, and they're over at your house, and you've got to do something. You say, hey, you know what? If you're hungry or thirsty, anything like that, please go ahead, go into the kitchen and help yourself. Really, right? If we tell somebody to do that. Now the question is, how many people will actually do that? Like nobody, right? We're not that's even though Paul says he'll do that. Okay, Paul might do it. Go ahead, unmute yourself if you want, Paul. Zero, exactly. Nobody's going to do that because it seems like we're imposing on the person. It seems like it just kind of seems weird. Now, on the other hand, imagine you've invited somebody over to your home and you sit them down, and then you go into the kitchen and you come out with a plate of freshly baked cookies. And you put that in front of them and you say, hey, Paul, would you like a cookie? Chances are, even if you're not particularly keen on cookies, even if you're kind of gluten intolerant, you'll probably take a cookie anyhow. Does that make sense? So again, we're putting it right there in front of them. We're making it as easy as possible. So we want to do that within whatever way we can with our investors as well. Be very, very explicit about what we'd like them to do. So always have a call to action in your marketing that is specific. So you tell them exactly how to get started, right? And then again, you guys, it's all about that constant and consistent communication. So I always recommend you should be working up to where you're having at least 4 communications a month, like 1 a week. So ding, 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 ding. Always staying top of mind. Keep it light, keep it edutaining, a little bit educational, hopefully a little bit entertaining, interesting. And then every once in a while have some sort of a quote unquote special event. What could that be? That could be a webinar. You know, once this whole COVID thing goes away, that could also be a pub night. I know I've had some clients do pub nights. Very, very effective. Get a bunch of people together. It's kind of like it's not really a client appreciation event because a lot of these people are not investors yet, but it's that idea. You get a bunch of people together, and instead of doing just a blasé webinar, you buy everybody a drink or two and you do your presentation at the pub. Here's the key though. Do it before everybody gets soused up. All right. Don't let them get too carried away. All right. So it's that constant, consistent communication. So again, the way we help you guys with this is with the done for you marketing, with the electronic newsletters, the video logs, the blog posts. So again, it's all about having something coming out, ideally once a week, keeping you top of mind with your prospective investors, because we never know when they're going to be ready to invest, right? It's up to them. So if we're not there when they're ready to invest, what else are they going to do? They're going to go talk to their financial planner and say, hey, say they come into an inheritance or whatever happens, refinance the house or something like that. Hey, I've got this chunk of money. What should I do with it? Well, their financial planner is going to have all sorts of good plans on what to do with that capital. So if we're not staying top of mind with them, we're going to lose out. Is this making sense, you guys? So always staying top of mind, keeping it easy for them to take some action. So that constant, consistent communication. So other things that we do here, again, being interviewed, being on podcasts, very, very effective, you guys. So if you ever have the opportunity, I know Renee's been on different podcasts and that sort of thing. If you have the opportunity to be on podcasts, that's very, very effective. Okay. Any quick questions or comments about that before we move into the during unit, you guys? You can unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments. Tracy, did you have anything? No, it's all good. Okay, very good. So the juring unit, you guys, this is where we're actually starting to work with somebody, right? Now, this starts from the moment we actually have our investor meeting with them. So we want to make it as easy as possible to get them started with you. And again, this is what we cover with you, kind of get started with your $1 million investor presentation. So my recommendation usually is we're not going directly for the cash immediately. What I'm suggesting that you want to do is you want to get people committed in the sense that they have said, yes, I'm seriously interested. So what does this look like? For me, this looks like them signing off on an expression of interest or a letter of intent. An expression of interest or a letter of intent. So that's that same thing. That's the first step. It's not legally binding. They're not cutting me a check for anything. But by just the fact that they've signed off on something tells me they're a serious prospective investor. And then depending on what you're up to after that, perhaps you're going to send them to your mortgage professional to get them pre-qualified for financing if that's part of your process. All right. So whatever that looks like for you. Now, let's say they come on board, they become an investor with us, however that looks for you. Okay. Next is now we're in the actual investment time itself. What are we going to do there? So this is where you have your regular reporting, whatever that's going to look like. If you're going to be reporting to them on a quarterly basis or a semi-annual basis every 6 months, make sure that you're doing that like clockwork. If you're having meetings with your investors, make sure you get those scheduled and in the books like clockwork and that it's happening very, very consistently. Does this make sense, you guys? Okay, so this is all the during side of things. So the way we help you out with this, part of the way is with that investor presentation to help you smooth the way for actually getting them on board. Well, hey there, thanks for tuning into the Property Profits podcast. If you like this episode, that's great. Please go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a good review. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that. And if you're looking to attract investors and raise capital for your deals, then I'm going to invite you to get a complimentary copy of my newest book, right back there. There it is. The Money Partner Formula. You can get a PDF version at investorattractionbook.com. Again, investorattractionbook.com. Take care.